Hello and welcome to Starbound's second channel. My name is Gabriel the Bibi Capaldi and I'll be your narrator today. But before we get into today's story, please do check down below that you are subscribed to the channel. It's 100% free and helps us pop up on your feed a bit more often. I stand at the edge of the big meeting room on Aeon, my hands holding the smooth black railing of the balcony. The room below buzzes like a beehive full of insects humans call bees. Feathers move in the air, and voices are heard in many alien ways. The place smells sharp, a mix of the air on the planet we gather on, Aeon, and the sweat coming out of its inhabitants because of the overpopulation. Purple lights shine in the room, making long shadows from the giant pillars that hold up the round roof. My people, the Shen, stand tall over the rest, taller, bigger, and stronger than anyone else. With a gray skin that shines, we're the meanest fighters in space, and everyone here knows it and is afraid of us. I'm Aton, their boss, and I wear that like a prize made from the bones of our enemies. The meeting of all the kinds of creatures in space starts like always. Some of them complain about their buildings that need fixing. Some start fighting over who's more ruthless. A noisy planet begs for help after a bunch of rocks fell from space and destroyed many of their natural resources. I hardly listen, my eyes going to the human group sitting in their corner. They look weird here, soft-skinned and small, like baby creatures lost in a pack of the animals they call lions. David, their boss, sits in front. His dark hair has some white lines in it because of his age, and his face stays calm while things go crazy. He's got this quiet strength that annoys me, like he's waiting for something big. It makes me mad, more than I want to say. "Humans," I say, loud enough to stop the talking. The room goes quiet, and everyone looks. Psychon, a species big in size but with small eyes, Begix, with their moving arms and feathers on them, and everyone else, all waiting for me to say something. "Tell me, David, what happened to those big days of yours? Pyramids going high into the sky, big groups walking across the land. Where did that fire go? Now you're just, what, sitting here, drinking water while the rest of us take pieces of space?" Laughter spreads throughout the room, rough and loud. I pull my lips back, showing my teeth, old and yellow from biting harder things than words. The Shen group hits the table with their hands, pushing me to keep going, to keep making fun of humans. Not sure if they actually like it or they're just scared of me, but I'm certainly enjoying it. David doesn't move. He leans forward, puts his elbows on the table, and talks in a voice as steady as calm water. "We've still got fire, Aton," he says. "It's just burning quieter these days, waiting for the right spark." "Right spark?" I chuckle, crossing my arms over my chest, my cape making a soft sound behind me. "Your Roman Empire's dust. Your warriors swapped swords for desks. Don't pretend you're more than a fossil we keep around for laughs. Your warrior days are over. You used to have men. Now you have kids." His eyes lock on mine, sharp and steady. "Fossils can still cut deep if you underestimate them." "Cute words," I say, leaning forward, letting my shadow fall over the table. "You sound brave hiding behind that table, but I've seen your kind looking down when real power walks by." A Pyth leader moves his mouthparts, murmuring to his people, wanting to see what happens next. The room feels tight, like something is about to happen. Some of the species nod at his answer, others roll their eyes. I wave my hand like it's nothing. "Keep dreaming, little man. The Shen could beat your best without even trying. Panon here could do it with his eyes closed." I point my head toward my best fighter, sitting next to me. Panon smiles, his eyes shining, arms crossed over his chest wide enough to block a door and muscular enough to crush the neck of a human, only using a headlock. Panon stands up and speaks in a deep, heavy voice. I could use a little workout, he says, looking at the humans with a slow stare. It's been a while since I fought something hard, but I don't think they count. They don't have it in them anymore. That's when David does something I didn't think he had the guts for. He stands up, slow and careful, his chair making a noise on the smooth floor. The room goes quiet, so much that I can hear my own heartbeat. Even Panon is feeling the change. David's not tall, not by Shen's standards, but he takes up the space around him like he owns it. "Prove it," he says. His voice isn't loud, but it vibes confidence and certainty. "You've got your champion, Panon. I'll bring one of ours, a Navy SEAL named Trident. Let's settle this in the stadium. One fight, your best against ours." A Navy SEAL? What is he supposed to do to Panon? Give him a massage? I reply, mocking him. "They're special warriors," David explains without taking his eyes off me. "The best Earth has to offer. Trained to endure, to fight, to win against impossible odds." Sounds fancy. Panon laughs, walking towards David. "I've killed fancy warriors before. They bleed just like the rest." The sound of his voice echoes through the entire room. A thrill rushes through me. The stadium, a coliseum we built on Aeon, based on humanity's bloody Roman past, is holy ground for settling scores. I look at Panon, his grin getting wider, scars all over his skin like a map of every fight he's won. Triton? Never heard of him. Probably just a weak human with a wish to die. "You're serious," I say, my grin matching Panon's. "You want to fight?" "Deadly serious," David replies. "To the end. No tricks, no tech, just blades." The hall goes crazy. Shouts and many loud cheers. My blood races in my veins, a drum roll of excitement. "Done," I say. "Panon will eat your little seal like a fish. Choose your weapons, swords, axes, or whatever you have. Let's see if your fire can handle the heat." "In 10 days precisely," David says. "Midday, when both suns are high. Give us both time to prepare." "Fine by me," I nod, already picturing the crowds, the glory. The stadium will be packed. The whole galaxy will watch your champion fall. David nods, cool as ever, and sits back down. I turn to Panon, clapping him on the shoulder, feeling his muscle. "Get ready to make me proud, brother. We're about to remind these fools who runs this galaxy." He nods, shoulders back, posture confident. "I'll make it quick, Aton, but I'll also enjoy it and give them a show they won't forget. After all, the audience will expect some entertainment." "That's my guy," I say, squeezing his shoulder harder. "Make them watch. Make them remember." "Don't worry," Panon says, flexing his massive arms. "I'll deal with him nice and slow. Let them see what real strength looks like." I look back at David, still sitting there like he's got a secret up his sleeve. "You're on, human," I call out. "Hope your Triton's got a strong stomach. Panon likes to play with his food." The room buzzes again, groups talking quietly, some already pulling out their devices to share the news. I lean forward, watching everything happen. The Psychons start writing odds on their tablets. Begix flap their wings in excitement, and the Pyth, those greedy guys, hiss bets to each other. As for me, I'm already imagining Panon's axe-splitting Triton's head, the crowd cheering, and the humans returning back to their corner. They have no clue what's coming. "All right, then, let's see if your race can build a tomb big enough for this defeat. After all, your ancestors used to build pyramids," I say, never stop showing them who's in charge here. Nobody cares about their planets or buildings that were destroyed anymore. All eyes are on the stadium now, on the fight that's about to shake the galaxy. I get out of the hall, Panon at my side, my mind racing with plans. Do the humans want to fight? They'll get one, and if they walk away from it, I'll make sure they become our slaves. No one can disrespect my race. I walk around the Shen place on Aeon, an area that looks like a huge old black castle. The twin suns shine down, making the air look wavy, and the wind carries the smell of dust from the volcanic lands below. My boots stand against the dirt in the yard, kicking up pieces of junk no one seems to bother picking up. Around me, my people train. Shouts are heard as they fight with axes and swords. The walls of the place are high, with sharp spikes, a warning to anyone foolish enough to challenge us. This is our land, and we don't fool around. They think they can beat us on our own land, I say to Dran, my oldest helper. His skin has turned old, but his energy levels are still high, and he's as healthy as a man of his age can be. Humans have guts, I'll give them that. Balls without brains, Dran replies, and then continues. Seen too many species thrown themselves at us. Always ends the same way. You think I made a mistake accepting the challenge? I ask, pausing to watch two warriors clash, axes ringing against shields. Dran shakes his head slowly. No mistake. Good reminder to the galaxy who sits at the top. They're the ones that initiated this. Word of the fight spreads quickly, and Aeon has turned into a crazy circus. Bookers from every kind of creature fill the streets, shouting odds and waving piles of currencs, our universal money, shiny little discs that jingle like music. The Psychon, those sneaky gamblers with their six-fingered hands and high voices, set up near the stadium. They see Panon as the sure winner, with odds at 10-1 against Triton. Most of the galaxy agrees, putting their money on my fighter. A few bold fools, mostly Begics, with their nervous hopes, and some Pyth, who drunk too much, and think they can predict the future. Put currencs on the human, probably just to say they dared. A Psychon bookmaker rushes over, bowing so low his nose nearly touches the ground. "Great Aton," he says. "Odds now favor your champion 15-1. Everyone's betting on Panon." He shows a nervous smile. "Should I place a bet for you? Sure win." I bare my teeth. You think I need to bet on my own fighter? Get out of my sight before I use your skull for a drinking cup. He nods and leaves, nearly tripping over his own feet. Dran chuckles, clearly amused by the whole scene. Panon then gets close to me. "Are you sure you don't want to place a bet? Sure win," he says. "Focus," I tell him, watching his form. "Don't get cocky. Kill him clean and be done with it." "You're worried, boss?" Panon stops, resting his axe on his shoulder. Sweat is visible on his forehead, as it is catching the sunlight. "Not worried," I respond. "Just cautious. Humans have surprised us before. Remember the Orion conflict? Everyone thought they'd roll over. Instead, they held the line for 3 bloody months." "That was war," Panon waves dismissively. "This is a one-man against me. Big difference." I squint across the field at the human camp. A group of fools have gathered nearby the river. Triton's out there, hitting a dummy with a sword so long it's almost funny. He's skinny, maybe 6 feet tall, with a bunch of brown hair stuck to his forehead from sweat. The blade is heavy, half his size, and he swings it like he's fighting a bear. I laugh, a deep sound that shakes my chest. "He's making up for something," I say, leaning against a rack of spears. "He probably thinks it'll scare you." Panon grins, showing all his teeth. "I'll carve him up and send him back to David in pieces. Maybe I'll keep that sword as a trophy, hang it over my wall as a reminder. I want this over so we can get back to running things. No point dragging out a slaughter." He nods and goes back to swinging, his axe cutting the air with a sound like thunder. The other Shen gather around, placing their own bets, mostly on how fast Panon'll finish it. 10 seconds, one says. 5, another belts, laughing. Me, I just watch, arms crossed, feeling the weight of the moment settle in. But as the days go by, a feeling of worry creeps up my back. Triton doesn't show off or brag like Panon. He just trains, hours and hours, swinging that huge sword until his arms must be hurting. David visits him every day, walking through the dust in his plain grey outfit, patting Triton on the back, saying something I can't hear over the wind. The humans have guts, I'll give them that. Damn reckless guts. "What's he saying to him?" I mutter one afternoon, peering from a hill above. David's got his hand on Triton's shoulder, nodding as the seal wipes sweat from his brow, as if they're preparing something. "Probably telling him where to dig his grave," Panon says, his confidence unwavering. He then talks to a Begek scout passing by, telling him mockingly, "Look at that sword. Kid can barely lift it. I'll snap him in half before he gets a swing off." "He's taking the whole situation seriously. That's something." "He practices like he thinks he has a chance," Panon says, crushing a piece of food he's holding in one hand and eating it. "Almost admirable, if it wasn't so stupid," I reply. "He's a dead man walking," Panon shoots back. I don't argue. Panon's right. Triton's outmatched. Still, I keep watching, day after day, as the human works hard. The camp is busy now. Other humans bring in crates, sharpen blades, and shout support. They're serious about this, and it's starting to bother me. What does David have planned? "You think they've got some trick planned?" I ask Dran that evening as we watch the human camp from the battlements. Dran squints at the distant figures. "Hard to say. Humans are crafty. But in the arena, rules are clear. No tech, no ranged weapons, just close-range weapons and skill. And we've got more of both," I finish, nodding. "Yes," he agrees, but there is something strange in his tone. "But never underestimate desperation, and they've proven many times to be intelligent. This could make them dangerous fighters." The night before the fight, I call Panon to my private room. Inside, there is a rack of weapons, and a view of the fields glowing under Aeon's moons. He comes in, axe resting on his shoulder. "You ready?" I ask, pouring us both a shot of Shen fire liqueur. It burns going down, but it definitely makes us feel alive. "Born ready," he says, downing his in one gulp. "Humans are like little kids. I'll finish him and be back here drinking by noon." "Good," I say, leaning forward as I stand, raising my glass. "To victory, to the Shen. May our enemies tremble when they hear our name." "To victory," he echoes, clinking his glass against mine. The sound rings in the quiet room. I send him off, then step onto the balcony, staring at the human camp. Torches flicker down there, shadows moving as they prep for tomorrow. Triton's still at it, swinging that damn sword in the dark. I shake my head, muttering, "Crazy little creatures." The galaxy's watching now. Aeons packed with ships. Streets are full of spectators. The Psychon bookers shout last-minute odds. Currencs changing hands like water. By tomorrow night, we'll prove to everyone what they already know. We're the legends here, and we're the ones that'll keep making history. I fall asleep, dreaming of victory songs and Paxon's axe killing Triton. But somewhere deep, a whisper of doubt exists through my mind, a feeling I can't quite understand. The next day, I'm standing on the announcer's platform in the stadium, my royal cape waving because of the wind. The place is a total madhouse. 50,000 seats hacked right into Aeon's rocky ground, every single one packed with aliens from all over the galaxy. Skins reflect the sunlight. Feathers move inside the stadium, and the noise is crazy. A wall of roars and shouts that hit me hard. The air is thick and heavy, smelling of roasted meat from the food departments, and an energy that screams something big is about to happen. The Colosseum's built in a very similar way to the Earth's Rome. Humans used to be great, I always thought, and today it's their graveyard. "Look at them all," Dran says next to me, his old voice barely audible because of the stadium's noise. "Haven't seen the stadium this packed since the Pyth Rebellion." "Everyone loves blood," I say, "especially when it's not theirs." Dran laughs and then replies, "I guess that's a trait every species has. I'll never know everything, but what I do know is everyone starves for a good show." Panon's down in the pit, his big axe resting on his shoulder, soaking up the crowds cheering like a king. He's huge, 9 feet tall, all muscle and old cuts, his grey skin looking like wet stone under the suns. Triton's across from him, his giant sword stuck in the sand, face as still as a rock. He's smaller, skinny, with brown hair stuck to his sweaty forehead. David's in the human seats, arms crossed, watching like a hawk ready to dive. I grab the speaker, my voice ringing out strong. "Welcome, brothers and sisters of the galaxy," I shout, letting it echo. "Today we test strength against weakness, honor against dumb luck. Panon of the Shen takes on Triton of Earth. May your bets pay off, though not all of you can win." I flash a big grin. "And to the humans, don't cry too loud when your champ falls flat. At least you'll have a story for your kids. Let me give you an idea for the title. The Day We Got Smashed." The crowd goes nuts, a wave of noise crashing over me, but the human section stays dead quiet. David's lips move, just a tiny bit, as if he's about to respond or get mad, but eventually he doesn't bite. He remains calm and focused, looking at Panon. "Think he's got a shot? He looks too calm." Dran asks low, gesturing over at Triton. "Not a chance," I respond. "It's been a long time since we had the whole stadium packed, so first we'll have a warm-up. 3 fights to get the blood pumping. A Begex with spiky arms steps in, facing off with a Pyth, who's got wings, allowing him to be fast, but to be honest, they don't help that much. The Begex hits hard, its spikes tearing into the Pyth's side. Feathers fly across the sand, and the crowd yells as the Pyth stumbles. "Get him!" some Psychon shouts from the seats, shaking Curranx. The Begex smacks the Pyth in the head, and the Pyth falls over, dizzy, blood dripping from his forehead. The winner walks off proud, arms up, while the loser gets pulled away, feathers still falling through the air. Next, 2 Psychon go at it, their 6-fingered claws flashing. They move fast, hissing at each other like angry cats. "Rip his guts out!" a Pyth in the crowd shouts. One Psychon steps aside just in time, then slashes the other's leg. Blood hits the sand. The hurt one stumbles, then charges, wild and off balance. He misses. The first Psychon sidesteps and rakes claws across his back. He crashes down, cursing, dripping red. The winner throws up his arms while the crowd goes wild. Last warm-up's a Shen recruit, young and cocky, against a Targ. The Targs are big like us, but definitely not as strong. The Targ is quick, dodging the kid's first swing, but our guy's got power. He grabs the Targ by the arm, holds him close, and slams a fist into his face. Teeth crack, 2 fly out, bouncing in the dirt, and the Targ grins through the blood, crazy as hell. "That all you got?" He spits, then charges. The Shen kid laughs, sidesteps, and kicks him hard in the gut. The Targ goes down, blood pooling under him, still smiling like a nut. The crowd loves it, Curranx flashing as bets get tossed around. "Good crowd today," a Psychon bookmaker says, scrambling up to my platform, sweating like a pig. He's got a tablet in his skinny hands, flipping through numbers. "Last-minute bets are pouring in. Everybody wants in on this." They're still going for Panon? I ask, already knowing it. Big time, apart from a few more humans who showed up and put cash on their boy. He snickers. Easy money, if you ask me. Then it's time. Panon and Triton step forward. The bells ring loudly, and the fight's on. Panon charges like a runaway truck, axe swinging wide. That thing could break stone. Triton slips out of the way, barely, his big sword dragging, almost tripping him. The crowd laughs, some shouting insults as metal hits metal, loud enough to bounce off the walls. Panon doesn't wait. He steps in and clips Triton's arm with a hard swing. Blood flies, red and hot, hitting the sand like paint. I lean in, grinning. First blood to the Shen, a Begik says with a voice like grinding rocks. The human's bleeding already. Too slow, little man, Panon yells, circling him the same way their species of animals, wolves, circle their prey. Triton grits his teeth, face tight, and swings back hard. His sword cuts Panon's thigh, just a scratch, but it pulls a hiss. Panon shakes it off, laughing so loud it rattles the seats. You call that a fight? Panon says, slamming his axe down fast. Triton rolls out of the way, sand exploding around him like a bomb went off, and comes up swinging again. This time, the blade hits Panon across the chest, carving a thin line. Black blood rolls down, slow and thick. The stands erupt in sharp noise, like 1,000 throats forgetting how to breathe. The human's fast, faster than I thought. I give him that. What if the human beats our brother? Dran mutters, leaning in, his old eyes squinting hard. Panon's just playing, I reply, but my gut's twisting a little. Panon's a monster. He catches Triton with a backhand, hitting him so hard the human hits the ground and slides 5 feet through the dirt. The crowd goes wild, pounding on the stands. Then Panon goes for the leg. He swings his axe down. It hits the knee with a nasty snap. Triton drops, grabbing it tight, face pale and twisted with pain. The stadium shakes from the noise, a wall of sound that slams into me like a fist. Panon lifts his arms, soaking it all in, axe dripping red onto the sand. That's it, I say, nodding. It's done. Don't be so sure, Dran says, pointing down. Look at him. You thought you could beat me, small human? Panon shouts, turning to the crowd, looking at the humans, arms wide. This is your champ, a worm in the dirt. I smirk, ready to call it over. Panon turns back, axe raised high for the finishing blow. Then it happens. Quick, way too quick. Triton's hand goes to his belt, pulling out a hidden knife, small and ugly. He holds it up, driving it deep into Panon's eye. My warrior screams, a loud, horrible sound I've never heard from him. Black blood pouring down his face. The crowd stops. They all freeze in surprise. What the? I get anxious, my heart pounding fast. Triton pulls the dagger from his eye and goes wild, stabbing Panon's chest, neck, gut, moving like a blur. Blood flies, black and red mixing in the sand. Panon screams in pain, swinging his axe blindly, but the human is relentless. He dodges everything, gets in close and stabs again, right through the heart. Panon crashes down hard, a giant dropped by a nobody. No! I yell, slamming my fist into the railing so hard the stone cracks. No way! Silence hits, heavy and thick. Then the humans go wild, cheering like crazy, a roar that drowns everything. The rest of the stadium sits, shocked, mouths open, eyes wide. I grip the stone ledge, my chest tight. I just lost my brother. Triton stands over Panon's body, breathing hard, blood dripping from his knife. He looks up at me, and damn, there's a fire in those eyes. Alive, dominant, cold. The human wins! The announcer finally yells, voice shaky with shock. Triton of Earth has taken down Panon of the Shen. Impossible, I whisper, but it's right there. Panon, my best guy, my brother, dead in the sand, blood pooling under him. Get him out of there, I tell my guards. Take Panon's body, bury him right. He deserves it. Don't leave him there like a worthless nobody. They rush into the pits, boots kicking up sand as they lift him, his big body heavy. The humans crowd around Triton, raising him up, chanting his name. Triton! Triton! Like he's some kind of god. David catches my eye across the stadium, calm as a rock, and for once, I've got nothing to say. The dagger, Dran says quiet, almost to himself. We didn't check for hidden stuff. It's legal, I respond, jaw tight. Small blades are fair game. We just didn't think he'd pull one. We underestimated them because of their looks, but forgot they're intelligent. The crowd starts clearing out slow, aliens muttering, some pissed about lost bets, others staring at the bloody sand like it's a riddle. I stay where I am, watching the humans cheer, their voices bouncing around long after the stands thin out. Panon's gone. My champ, my brother. And this little humans flipped it all upside down. I don't know what to feel, but I know one thing. I got the humans wrong. Badly. What now? Dran asks as we finally turn to go. I look back at the stained sand one last time. Now we figure it out. The humans just schooled us. I'd be an idiot not to pay attention. Then we go to the meeting room. We sit at the long table, and awkward silence is evident. It's hours after the fight, and the leaders of every kind of creature gather here. No crowds, no noise, just us. The room is dark, brightened by blue torches that cast shadows on the stone walls. The smell of blood and sand still clings to me, a reminder of the stadium. David sits across from me, hands folded, his expression calm and authoritative at the same time. The others, Psychon, Begix, Pyth, all of them, watch me, waiting. My cape hangs loose over my shoulders, and my fingers tap on the table, restless. "Well," says a Psychon, "that was unexpected." He turns to David. "Your champion fought well. Most impressive." David nods, his demeanor measured. "Thank you. He represents the best of us." "The best," I echo, the words tasting bitter. "Your best killed my best with a hidden dagger." "Not hidden," David counters calmly. "Within the rules, small blades were permitted. We studied the notebook carefully." "While we assumed brute strength would be enough," I finish, understanding our foolishness. "Size isn't everything," says the Begix leader, feathers twitching. "History proves that over and over." "Even our own planets," added a Pyth. "The greatest hunters aren't always the largest." I clear my throat, the sound rough in the quiet. "I was wrong," I say, the words feeling heavy. "About you, about humans, I mocked your past, your present, thinking it made you weak. I threw your pyramids and empires in your face, laughed at what you've become. But today, Triton showed me that fire you talked about. The same guts your ancestors had when they built those great things and fought in those arenas. It's still there, burning bright." David tilts his head, a faint smile tugging at his lips. "We've got our flaws, Aton, plenty of them. We stumble, we fall, we make a mess of things. But we don't quit. That's what keeps us going. Through the pyramids, the empires, all of it." "You adapt," I say, understanding now. That sword was a distraction. All that training, it looked clumsy because he never intended to use it as his primary weapon. "We work with what we have," David says simply. "Sometimes that means changing tactics, finding new ways to survive, to win." I nod, slow and careful, feeling the weight of every eye on me. Then, against every instinct screaming in my bones, I stand and bend forward. A Shen bow, low and respectful, my head dripping below my shoulders. The whole room observes carefully, a sharp breath taken all at once. "I'm sorry," I say, my voice steady despite the knot in my stomach. "For the disrespect, for the years of it. You're a great species, and I'll never forget what I saw today." He stands, offering his hand across the table. "Apology accepted. Friends?" I stare at his outstretched palm, small, but as steady as a rock. I grip it firmly. "Friends," I say, and the words feel strange, new, but right. The others clap, hesitant at first, then louder, a wave of sound. The Psychon leader speaks up. "Well, I lost a lot of Karanks today, but I'll drink to that." Laughter breaks the tension, and even I smile. "Good," I say, letting go of David's hand. "Let's go have some drinks. Rounds on me." David nods, and a small smile tugs at his lips. The Begex leader looks at David and then speaks to him. "Your Triton's a monster. Where'd you find him?" "Earth's full of 'em," David says, sitting back down. "It just takes the right push to bring it out." "All this time," I say, "we thought you were weak because you chose peace, but that's not it, is it?" "Peace isn't weakness," David says, eyes locked on mine. "It's a choice, one we make every day, knowing what we're capable of if pushed." "A luxury of strength," Dran murmurs from beside me. "Only the truly powerful can afford to be gentle." I settle into my chair, the weight of Panon's loss still inside of me. But there's something else, too. Respect? Admiration, even. The humans earned it, and I'm not too proud to admit it. The meeting shifts to lighter talk, but my mind's still back in the stadium, replaying that dagger, that fire. Humans are not just a bunch of weak little creatures. They're a force, and I'll be damned if I forget it again. "To new understandings," I say later, raising a glass. "To new beginnings," David answers, lifting his own. As we drink, I make a silent promise to myself. I'll watch these humans closely, not as enemies now, but as equals, maybe even as teachers. They've survived this long for a reason, and today they taught the galaxy a lesson none of us will soon forget. The fire never went out. It just found new ways to burn.